defeated WBC lightweight champion of the world, Edwin Dinamita Valero.
See if he listens to his corner.
At right hand.
あるっていうことはやっぱり。
これはバレルの
27 victories, 27 wins, 27 knockouts. Edwin Valero, the only boxer in history to consecutively knock out 19 opponents in the first round. Feared and avoided by many, Valero was one of the most brilliant and ferocious fighters of the mid-2000s. His untamed spirit shook the boxing world to its core. Yet, it was this very rage that led to a massive tragedy that stunned the entire sporting community. In this episode, we will unravel the chilling tale of this fighter's rise to fame. A story where a champion tragically transforms into a murderer. Watch until the end for an absorbing recount of a life that took a turn from the heights of glory to the depths of infamy. This is a story you cannot afford to miss. On the morning of April 19, 2010, the routine hum of a weekday buzzed through a hotel in Valencia, a Venezuelan town. Behind the reception desk, a young woman stifled yawns of boredom until silence was broken by a guest's quiet dissent. Approaching with unsettling calm, the man declared that he had killed his wife. The receptionist, taken aback by the absurdity of his words, initially doubted their truth. Yet he insisted, repeating the chilling confession, "I've killed her." Oblivious to the sporting world, she couldn't recognize that the man before her was no ordinary visitor, but Venezuela's most feared boxer, Edwin Valero. In one harrowing moment, the champion who had ascended to the zenith of his fame had seemingly dismantled everything he long strived for. To comprehend how Valero reached such a dark turning point, we must venture deeper into the boxer's life story. Edwin Valero's tale begins in the humble neighborhood of Bolero Alto, Venezuela. Born on the 3rd of December 1981, into an environment where poverty was rife and crime and substance misuse were commonplace. This harsh upbringing could have easily led him down the path of joining a gang, were it not for the saving grace of sport. It was at a local bicycle shop where young Edwin found work and befriended the owner, who happened to run a modest boxing gym. It was here, amidst the gloves and punching bags of the humming gymnasium, that he fell in love with boxing at first sight. His passion ignited, Valero dedicated countless hours to refining his craft, honing the explosive punches that would soon become his claim to fame. Coaches at the gym had a realization. They had a rough demon on their hands, one that required immediate focus, far removed from the world of bicycle sales. Swayed by their encouragement, Edwin shifted his commitment entirely to sport. His amateur boxing career was nothing short of stellar, boasting an impressive record of 86 victories, with 57 of those coming by way of knockout, and only 6 defeats. It was a commendable feat that solidified his decision to turn professional, a realm where his legacy would be cemented even further. Despite the belief that one's environment doesn't define them, it inevitably leaves its mark, as it did with Valero. In his youth, Valero dabbled with various substances, and brushes with the law were a regular part of his life. At the tender age of 16, Valero found himself entangled with a street gang. He brazenly confiscated motorcycles and bicycles from students at gunpoint, concealing his spoils in the basement of a boxing gym. His illicit activities eventually caught up with him when police caught him red-handed. The arrest led to a 6-month stint in jail, marking just one of his 14 incarcerations. Boxing remained the sole beacon of light in his life, a sport whose love endured regardless of the hurdles the young athlete faced. He lived his dream of becoming a professional champion and was buzzing with anticipation for his debut, yet fate had other plans. In 2001, the aspiring boxer, helmetless and rushing at a speed of 80 kilometers on a motorcycle, crashed into a car and was hurled 6 meters away. The result was a fractured skull and an urgent craniotomy. Under medical supervision, he recovered in 9 months, during which he completely abstained from harmful substances and alcohol. Regrettably, his destructive habits crept back into his life over time. The accident delayed his entry into the professional boxing ring, but it didn't cancel it. Finally, on July 9, 2002, in Caracas, his moment arrived. Edwin Valero triumphed over Eduardo Hernandez with a technical knockout in the first round, marking a victorious start to a long-awaited career. Valero's debut was nothing short of sensational, yet he couldn't have possibly anticipated what the future held for him. The Venezuelan boxer achieved an astounding record, knocking out 19 opponents in the first round of his first 19 professional fights. An impressive feat that secured him a spot in the Guinness World Records. His monstrous punching power would later earn him the nickname El Dinamita. Everyone who stepped into the ring with him spoke of his strikes with a mix of fear and awe. They were not just powerful, they were devastating. Every blow he landed reverberated like an echoing testament to his prowess, leaving both the audience and his adversaries in a state of shock and amazement.
He had already knocked out other guys, so...
In sparring?
Yeah, all the time.
Victories swiftly followed one after another for him. His tempestuous boxing style, blended with precision techniques, quickly captivated the audience. Before long, dynamism propelled him to stardom in his homeland, basking in the limelight of success. It turned out that Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez himself took an interest in boxing, and after watching one of the fights, he expressed a desire to meet with the boxer Edwin. Chavez was particularly impressed by the boxer's style, characterized by an onslaught of punches against his opponents from the outset. This marked the beginning of a friendship between the president and the sports star. Edwin soon sported a new chest tattoo, a vibrant depiction of the Venezuelan flag and the face of Chavez. This tattoo became his signature, a symbol of his closeness with the country's leadership, a relationship from which he increasingly benefited. On the surface, everything seemed promising, but the shadows of a turbulent childhood lingered. With newfound wealth came the resurgence of forbidden substances in his life. By this time, Edwin was married to a woman named Jennifer Carolina, with whom he was raising 2 children. They lived a seemingly joyous life until the intrusion of drugs altered their reality. Incidents of Edwin's presence in a troubling, inebriated state around his family became more frequent. In 2007, a bystander's police report accused the boxer of assaulting his mother and wife, the grievance filed by an everyday citizen who witnessed the altercation involving the well-known athlete. Repeated instances of Edwin being caught driving under the influence also surfaced. However, his renown and connections allowed him to continuously slip away from the grip of accountability. Despite the scandals, Valero didn't allow anything to impede his ascent to professional acclaim. On August 5, 2006, he clinched the WBA super featherweight title. It was in a fiercely contested fight that he defeated the boxer by the name of Vicente Mosquera.
Dándose a respetar el campeón. Como quien dice, si pegas, pégame, y le pegó Valero. Le pegó. Es caída oficial. Lo quiere medir Valero. Bien la derecha y la izquierda y cayó Mosquera. La derecha volada por el loco a la cabeza una vez más. Se faja otra vez, pero Valero pega muy fuerte. No debe iniciar esos ataques suicidas el loco todavía. Debe esperar un par más de rounds. Está cogido el loco. Está sentido. Bien Mosquera. Vuelve a la izquierda del panameño. ¡Le cayó Valero! ¡Cayó Valero! Muy aguado el loco. Se iba a meter la esquina, se iba a meter la esquina de Mosquera, se metieron, pararon la pelea, se acabó, nuevo campeón, ganó Valero.
Over the next year and a half, Dinamita successfully defended the WBA title 4 times. He claimed early victories against Michael Lozada, Nobuhito Honmo, Sairon Sithsoe, and Takahiro Shimada. But Valero's ambitions stretched further. He yearned to fight on the battlegrounds of the United States. Unfortunately, as negotiations for his overseas debut were reaching their culmination, the Venezuelan encountered yet another obstacle. The American Medical Commission denied him clearance to fight on U.S. soil due to concerns stemming from a surgical procedure following a 2001 accident. The doctors feared that a fight could lead to grave consequences. Unwilling to wait for the commission's approval, Valero embarked on a global odyssey. He fought in Japan, Africa, and in his homeland, but the dream of competing in the States never ceased to resonate with him. And when, in 2009, he finally received that coveted clearance, the Colombian dominator seized the WBC lightweight title in a Texas ring, toppling a Colombian named Antonio Pitalua.
Let's see if he listens to his corner.
And right hand, short right hand, knocks Pitalua right on his back. It will not take much. He's about to go again. Valero just in, trying to finish him off, and down he goes. And he back. I don't think he is. A long way to go in this round. Pitalua in retreat. About 7 unanswered punches, and that's it. It's over. Just like that.
Subsequently, Valero defended this title twice against Hector Velasquez and Antonio DeMarco. During the same era, the boxing world reverberated with the name of another fighter trailblazing through the ranks, making the potential bout between Manny Pacquiao and Edwin Valero something of unimaginable grandeur, a clash that seemed destined to make history. Both boxers were geared up for the showdown, and the entire sports world held its breath in anticipation. Analysts debated fiercely over who would triumph in this titanic encounter, and unexpectedly, Valero's odds were regarded as impressively high. While Valero had not faced any boxing titans in his career, tales were whispered that Oscar de la Hoya, Eric Morales, and many other secretive legends thoroughly acknowledged his prowess as our madman, seemingly toppled them in unofficial bouts. By the time the situation escalated, Edwin Valero had already dangerously spiraled out of control due to his substance abuse problems. Not only a formidable presence in the ring, but Valero also posed a threat at home where his violent outbursts subjected the women in his life to grave danger. His wife, mother, and sister were repeatedly victims of his domestic violence, with his wife Jennifer bearing the brunt of his aggression. The first recorded incident happened in September 2007 in Merida, Venezuela, where the boxer resided. Police detained Valero following an assault on his mother and sister. However, the arrest was short-lived as the women came to his defense, claiming that a misunderstanding with a neighbor who contacted the police was to blame. Jennifer did not report her husband to the authorities, yet later in 2007, she tragically attempted to take her own life. This incident did nothing to quell Valero's violent tendencies. In 2009, he shot Jennifer in the leg. The chain of events that led to a tragic end began in March 2010. Under the influence of alcohol and drugs, Edwin battered Jennifer to the extent that she suffered a broken rib that punctured her lung. During her hospitalization, Valero threatened a doctor and a nurse, resulting in his arrest. By court order in Merida, Valero was sent to a rehabilitation program. Despite the severity of her injuries, Jennifer declined to press charges, citing a fall down the stairs as the cause of her trauma. Valero's stay at the San Juan de Dios Rehabilitation Center lasted only a few days before he stumbled down a treacherous path. Emerging sober, he succumbed to alcohol's grip, got behind the wheel, and collided with 5 cars, a cocktail of reckless decisions. Evading the accident scene, Valero slipped away unnoticed, seemingly unscathed by the law. In a moment of clarity, Dynamite recognized his inability to conquer his demons alone: alcohol, drugs, and unchecked aggression toward those closest to him. In the waning weeks of his life, he pondered treatment options across 3 nations: Cuba, Mexico, and the USA. World Boxing Council executives arranged his US visa, but Cuba was his chosen refuge. A flicker of hope for a brighter future that was short-lived. Valero had no intention of rehabilitating and deftly escaped the watchful eyes of local clinic guards alongside his wife, seeking sanctuary from prying eyes. On April 18th, the couple checked into the Intercontinental Hotel, seemingly stable to onlookers. If only the onlookers knew the horror that awaited mere hours later. Come dawn on April 19th, Valero descended to the reception and chillingly confessed to killing his wife. The hotel staff's initial disbelief turned to horror upon discovering the gruesome scene in the boxer's room: a young woman's blood-stained body marred by knife wounds. Under the influence and detached from reality, Valero registered little reaction to his terrible act. The glazed look in his eyes said more than his calm demeanor, as he was arrested without resistance, acquiescing to his detention. His notoriety offered him no shield in prison. Valero spent just 1 night behind bars. Come morning, alarmed by noises, an inmate's complaint led the authorities to a devastating sight. The effect of the substances had worn off, and perhaps faced with the gravity of his actions, Valero ended his tormented existence with a self-fashioned noose from his trousers. Valero's mother pointed an accusing finger at powerful elites and the government for neglecting her son's decline. She wasn't entirely wrong. Overlooked for years despite evident psychological struggles, when Valero finally pondered recovery, it was tragically too late. Head trauma not suited for the ring, substance dependence, and rampant aggression were his constant companions, culminating in a tale of 2 deaths and orphans left in the wake. The Venezuelan boxer's life spanned 28 years, years marked by 27 undefeated fights. A potential legacy as one of the greats was marred irreversibly by drugs and injuries in a single night, transforming an idol into a fiend. To some, he remains a cold-blooded murderer, a heartless brute steeped in alcohol-induced psychosis. To others, a boxing wunderkind whose brilliance was never vanquished, yet to some, a troubled soul who lost a harrowing battle with himself. And so, a stark reminder emerges from this cautionary tale. Eschew the siren call of intoxicants. The end is invariably grim. Cherish sport, your family, and remember, you have but one life to lead.
WBC lightweight champion of the world, Edwin Valero.